and we're going to run the cable through there, out there, way goes from here. Effectively now I've got my power feed coming in. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to be installing a load of strip lights in a brand new unit, because when you walk in like this, it is pretty dark. So this is your first thing in the morning. Not great. So stay tuned. I'm going to go through the whole process of going about installing all of these strip lights, how we're going to do it, what we've done, why we've done it this way, what lights we've used, what parts we're using. If you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do. Link is in the corner. Turn your notifications on, and welcome to the secret project. Yo, welcome to the channel. So you join me now at the secret project. So you would have seen, if you'd followed the GHC Weekly that we put up every weekend, project that we've started, but I had to postpone it because there was a set of stairs that was being welded in above my head, so I had to go. So I am back here today and loads of progress has been made. So I'm back here today to get on with some lighting. So we need some lights up here. I have just put one up in the mezzanine, so there's loads that have changed. So we've got a mezzanine floor up there now, we've got ladders, we've got another steel container that's gone in here. Loads and loads of benches have gone on, and oh yeah, picked up that new thing. Nice. But more on that later on in the video. So today we're going to get lighting in each and every bay. So I've just started putting lighting in up there. So we've got the access tower in, getting on with running some of the lighting. I'll go through all of the lights that we're going to be using. There's also floodlights going outside, some sockets, some powers, some lights going over a work area. Oh, there's loads going on. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do, and you can follow along on all these journeys that we got going on at the minute. So if you are into your vehicles like me, I absolutely love them, and I've had so many of them, it's ridiculous. So I am on my 35th vehicle, and I've just picked up our brand new van, which I will go through towards the end of the video, what we've actually bought. But I've also got something really, really cool. So if you're into Land Rovers like me, you are not going to want to miss this. This Land Rover, which the owner for this place, it belongs to him. Oh my God, it is been a dream vehicle for him. And I know this is, you know, you're tuning in for electrical and all the rest of it, but most tradies and stuff are into stuff like this. It's cool. So if you're into that, that is going to blow your head. It is absolutely wicked. There is going to be a full video on that later on down the line. I don't know when it's going to happen. We're going to make it happen because it's really cool. So in here, we're going to begin getting some sockets in this area. At some stage, it's going to put a light in above the workbench, because obviously what you're sitting on right now is a workbench, and we need to get all those bits and bobs sorted. So the lights that we're installing is we're going to be fitting these battens from Luceco. These are 6-foot battens, which are full color selectable. Now, what I mean by that is that you can have warm white, cool white, daylight, and different Kelvin outputs. So we obviously want the brightest in here, but in some locations they might not want them actually that bright, so you can turn them down. So they're IP rated, which is a perfect environment for what we're in, because it's going to get dusty, it's going to get all mucky in here. Water shouldn't be coming in because it's a brand new unit, but obviously if it does, it does. So we're going to be hanging these off some Katina wire, just so we can try and get a bit more level. Now, there's a lot going on. Now, if you imagine, if you're just starting out on this adventure by taking on a big unit like this, there is huge, huge outlays. So he is a good friend of mine, and what we're doing is we're going to make sure that we get it up and running, you got enough lights on there, and we can build for the future. So the people who actually have built the barn I've already put a 3-phase supply in, so we're all good to go. We've got a Hager disc board in there with loads and loads of spare ways, so we can build more and more stuff going on. There's other plans in here for a dry store. As you can imagine, this is a tree surgeon's unit, so they're getting out in the wet and the cold and miserable weather. Why they do that, I don't know. They're absolutely mad. But they need an area where obviously they can dry all their kit. So that is going to be our future video and future plans. But right now, we're going to get in to getting this light up. Right, so what I've got is I've got my flex that's run all the way out to where that light is right now. And what we're going to run is we're going to have at each point, we're going to have a Whisker 308 box. So it's going to be mounted up onto the purlin. And then from there, we're going to have effectively an in and an out, which is going to continue through onto the purlin so we can go more lights further down. And obviously we're going to have a flying lead out to each light. So in the future, if the owner wants to then add on additional lights, we've got a point at each bay, if that makes any sense. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to use some stuffing glands as well on each one. So if you can imagine, you've got your cable coming through. So it's going to come through and then we're going to build that. Like that. So it's going to effectively come through. Obviously got to tighten these up, but that's how we're going to do it. And we're going to run the cable through there, out there, way goes from here, and this is going to be my outgoing leg to the actual light. I find that's going to be the best way of doing it for this installation, knowing full well that there's going to be add-ons and add-ons as we go, as the time moves on. So let's get these up there. Okay, so effectively, this is where we're at right now. So we've got our flex coming in. Yes, I know I could have done it all in white, but I didn't. That's not what the plan has turned out to be. And the reason why I'm keeping the cable on in white is because whoever's done all of the doors and everything else, there's cables on that side, it's all in white as well. So I was like, oh, do you know what? We'll keep it the same. So effectively now I've got my power feed coming in, all connected up here, and this is my outgoing leg down to the light. So the light is now all leveled up. So I now know what I need to be at for my next bay. But in theory now, so that will then continue on down into that bay. And then I just need to continue all the clipping all the way down. And then what I'm going to do, because the previous guy who did all the stuff over there hasn't put any fire clips in, and while I've got the access tower, which we're standing on, it'll make sense to put some fire clips in as well. So we're going to put fire clips all the way along, dotted at every, I don't know, 600 to 800 or something like that, I don't know, whatever it is, but we're going to stick some all the way down and just make sure that in the case of a fire, because as you can imagine, combustible materials and stuff like that in here, and if, well, at the end of the day, if it all goes up in flames, no one's coming in here anyway, but the fire brigade will come in at some stage, and obviously if we can do our bit to make it as safe as possible, then that is the way. So yeah, so that's basically how we're doing it. So I just need to rattle on, but obviously you can imagine it's very, very difficult to film up here while, you know, I'm on a tower and all the rest of it. So I just thought I'd show you the rundown of this. Yeah, and I mean, I actually enjoy it. I love stuff like this because it's not my norm. I don't normally do things like this, so it's quite nice to do something different. Okay, so one little top tip for you. So regarding to clipping distances, to make your life easier, so if you put that end onto the clip you've just done, spin that round, scratch on the timber where you've just done, that is a decent gap between each one of your clippings. There's a little top tip for you. So if you use that method, that is basically what you'll end up with plenty of clips, nice decent spacing in between, all looks uniformed, and there's no sporadic clipping that goes on because that drives me mad. When you see some of the jobs and you're like, oh my God, have a bit of consistency in your clipping, and yeah, it really does my head in. So hopefully you can see it like this. So if you can look all the way across there, it's all nice and neat and uniformed all the way through, which is the way it should be. Have a bit of pride. Okay, so we've now just energized that lighting circuit up there. So she's up. So now what I'm going to do is going to move the tower across and start getting some of the cables ran down to this point into this bay now. I just wanted to have that up so you could see it in the flesh as such, because obviously without doing that, it could take a long time. So, oh, that's coming.
The wait is finally over.
Come on, I'll go around that a bit. I promise I'll go around that a bit later on.
Come on, this is not fair.
But yeah, so what I'm now going to do is now going to bring the cables all the way across, get this bay done. Now there's a problem with this door, so the client said, don't worry about this, leave that tower in that area for tonight because there's something wrong with the motor or something and they're coming out to fix it. So next plan now is get that shifted across and get some more cable clipped. Okay, so I've now got these lights on. So I've just turned the main section on. I just want to show you how cool these are. So obviously we've got one in each bay at the minute. We've got one on the mezzanine. Obviously it's getting a little bit darker. I mean, it's now 2 o'clock. It's starting to get a little bit darker, but these are going to give him plenty of light for what is needed for now. So if you can notice just down this bit, obviously the camera doesn't pick it up quite as well, but this is quite a little bit of a dark area here. So what I'm going to do is up in on that steel there, I'm going to put another light facing that way, which will light up all this area, and then so it's not a complete dead zone here, because the light you'll be able to see, it's not like you're going to fall over, but if you're needing to grab a particular part or whatever, it's going to be a bit of a nuisance to work around. So I'm going to get on with that now, get that bit sorted, because like I say, the mezzanine's all covered now. We've got all the top ends all done. So like I say, the color selectable, so they should be all good to go. Okay, so I've now got the other light up behind the container. So it's such the right call. I spoke to the client, I said, look, what do you want to do? Because in here, I've only got a set amount. I've got six lights, I think, in total that I've got, that's obviously booked in for this. And I'm down to the last basically 2. And I said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to do the bench area, which is this area where we're working right now? Do you want me to get this all lit up, or do you want that area? And we're in and ahhing on what to do, but I said, because I've got the access tower, it'll make more sense to get the high stuff done, because then I can do this at any time whatsoever. So I think it's the right call. I think you guys would also appreciate that. That does definitely make the right decision. So now we've got a completely lit area now. Makes a much better use of the space. There's no dark, dingy areas. All the stairwells all lit up. All the tops all lit up. Makes such a difference in the unit. Now, as promised, I did promise, check that out. What an absolute beast. So for me personally, I've got a 110, and this thing is an absolute thing of beauty. Now, I have obviously speaking to the client, I'm gonna make a full video on actually this and what's gone into it, because it's unbelievable. Now, obviously, if you're into cars, then you just make sure you subscribe and just keep your notifications turned on, because at some stage there'll be a full video on this. So if you're into Land Rovers, especially, this thing is absolutely unreal. It's been a complete nut and bolt restoration, and it's the client's dream vehicle. He had one when he was first starting out, and then here we are. So this is a 130 with a tipper back on it. It's just unbelievable, it really is. And obviously if you're into trucks, it looks black as well. So in here the light actually looks black, but it's not. It's like a really deep green with a metal flake in it. It's just, oh yeah, it's wicked. So I know this is going off tangent, you know, and I can't help it. Whenever there's a Land Rover, that's me, I'm gone. You know, I've had 9 of them now. And I've got a black, like I say, a black 110 utility, which is, yeah, it's just wicked. Love it, absolutely love it. So yes, so there will be a full video on that at some stage, because like I say, I love it. So, talking about vehicles, I know this is taking a different turn. Do you want me to go through this? What I bought?
Oh, finally.
So here she is. So we have bought the brand new Transit Custom. We've upgraded certain bits like the wheels and things like this. So all of these blue stripes and stuff, which are everywhere at the minute. So we've got them all up the back and spoiler and all sorts of stuff on it. They're all going to be changed to green to match our livery. Like I say, I only picked this up on Friday. And yeah, it's just a wicked bit of kit. I love it, in fairness. It's not like, yeah, it's just cool. I mean, there's all these like little details, like they will all be changed to green. But inside, I've gone for a auto, old man auto, at the minute. So we've all got blue stitching and stuff like that. Am I going to change all that? No, am I heck? It's not going to happen. I'm not changing it because that would cost me an absolute fortune. The van was expensive as it was. But I've gone for auto. The reason why I've gone for this configuration rather than anything else, because it's actually the fastest one they do that's not electric based. So if you get the hybrid, that's slightly faster, but the numbers just don't stack up for us as a business. They just don't stack up. So the cost of that, so you want to know how much it is, it's a lot of money. It's like 43 grand it is. But we used to lease all the vehicles and now we're changing to actually owning them all. So the reason why we've done that is because we want to space them out a little bit more. So last time we've had to change all 4 of them in one go, which is obviously a massive hit for the business. So now I wouldn't necessarily have got out of my last one, but this one is lovely. It's really nice. Like I say, it's not really got many miles on it so far. So I think I've done less than 10 miles in it at the minute. Still got to get all the racking sorted. So that is another one that's going to be coming up, because I've took all the Bot Smart racking out of my previous van. So that is all at my house at the minute, and I'm now waiting for a center section because this is the long wheelbase one rather than the short wheelbase. And I'm just waiting for that center section, so then I can obviously get that all taken care of. So yeah, so I did promise and I delivered. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the video. So what I've got now all up, I've mounted up the strip light under here ready to go. So I've just been sort of planning on how I'm going to get some sockets. So just been talking to the client and he wants a few sockets, obviously for the workbench. There was sockets that actually in the original plan were due to be actually over here on this back wall, but he doesn't want them anymore. That's not something that he thinks the way, like I say, there's always changes, the plan changes all the time. So I'm just trying to think of a different way of doing things. So on here, he wants a couple of sockets above the worktop height. And then he also said, can we have a socket actually on here? Now, I said, yeah, that's fine. We'll put it in a metal clad, so it's bolted to that. Because he said, oh, originally he wanted on actually fixed to the wall back there. But it means, because these are so deep, it will mean they'll have to crawl on his hands and knees to get to it. And he said, it's just literally for plugging the little compressor in or whatever he wants. So yeah, no problem, we'll sort all that out. So we are coming to the end of this video, but it's pretty dark now, I must admit. It is pretty dark, and I think we'll all agree that those lights from Luceco are doing the job. I mean, it's plenty. I mean, you can easily work in here. If you want to do any maintenance on whatever, it's so much better. So walking around, obviously, onto the store area where we've just put that light in, plenty of lighting all the way around and up to the top in the mezzanine. So this is what we had before. It's this little strip light, little LED floodlight, which I've got to take off because obviously it's got nothing going to it right now. And then we've put that one up, clipped all the way along, and here we are. So, like I say, plenty of light for everything that needs to be done, to be built on. So if there's any more that needs doing, not an issue. So join me day 2, where we'll be getting on with the actual power side of things and getting the sockets all ran. I've got to think of it a different way, so whether I do it in some galvanised conduit, I'm not sure, or some armoured. I'm in 2 minds, but let's just see how good these are.
Huh?
So I think you can agree, it is pitch black in here. And yeah, it's definitely a game changer.